Ray Pinn is the guardian of a virtual village within the city. He's the warden at the council's Sarah Robinson House, a tower block dominating Queen Street and the surrounding area. You're the warden in Sarah Robinson House. This building's almost as if they've taken the street and upended it, a vertical village. What sort of people live here?
Well, all sorts of people. The whole cross-section of the community. We have young, old, all different sort of walks of life, and they're living in the block, which is like a very small community, like you say, as a village. So we'll take you around and introduce a couple.
You've lived in Sarah Robinson House for quite a while now, haven't you?
1980, October.
1980.
Yeah.
And then you lived across the road, so
yeah,
in
William Booth House in 1963, 64, 65. And then I moved out of Portsmouth for about a year. Then I came back. There weren't many shops at all in Queen Street then, you know. There was a lot of pubs and little shops, but not. And then I remember Sainsbury's opened up in Commercial Road there.
Yeah.
Which is now Iceland.
Right.
And that was a sort of first supermarket anybody had ever seen, you know, in the town.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, I was in apprentice in dockyard originally, carpenter and joiner.
Yeah.
Remember trolley buses, and if you came out the dockyard on a bicycle, you went with the flow. It was just like a flock of birds, you know. You couldn't, if you wanted to turn left, you had to go with the main. It was. You ask any older person, people of like 50s, 60s.
Certainly was a sight to see. Yes, just after 4 o'clock, Unicorn Gate used to open, and countless numbers of bikes, hundreds of bicycles, just to hurtle down Unicorn Road, down towards Edinburgh Road. Anybody who was stood in the island in the middle of the road at that time, they had to wait quite a considerable time for all this, like the milk race coming by. But it was certainly a sight to see.
You must have seen some changes in Queen Street over the years.
Portsmouth, all full stop really. They call it progress, but I don't know if it is or not.
Portsea is now probably one of the most highest unemployment areas in Portsmouth. There's some reason we haven't got an industry at all down here now. The loss of jobs and things like that from the naval base, which is closed down. Also we lost the brewery, which was a high employer here at one time. Mainly on the side of the housing side, with the Portsmouth City Council housing side was mainly the job, where improvements have brought people up to maybe a better standard of living, a higher standard of living is what they've got. Improvement in the buildings and things as it's gone on. It's gone from the oldie worldy type of Portsmouth into, as you see today, it's a modern thing, and it's always improving.
I like it here. I've been here all my life, so to me it'll always be the same, Portsea. No matter how they change it, it'll still be, I look at it as the same old Portsea we had anyway.
So how's it changed since you were a little girl to say now?
Well, it's changed now since the Navy and all that's gone, and you know, and all the shops we had, because now we haven't got half the shops as we should have.
Do you think it's for better or worse?
No, I think it's improved it myself. Especially the dockyard, I reckon it's beautiful. Well, when it's finished. Well, I'll be honest, I put more room for the kids to play, more space to play area for the children, which I think they should have. Because all they've got over there is that little bit there.
So you think it's more for families now? Before it was for sailors going out and having a good time?
No, it was always for family. They was all good people. Good family people. They were out to each other. You never went with eat nothing. If you didn't have it, they had it. So, but other than that, I mean, look the home. I mean, we got the old people's home there. They have stews in there and that. We see all the old people going in and eating that.
Do you think there's a sense of community around here in the street?
Yeah, I mean, nobody interferes with you. I mean, they say about Queen Street. I mean, doesn't matter who's in Queen Street at night. They don't. Nobody interferes with you. You can go eat, have a talk with them. They all speak to you.
Because they had a bit of a reputation at one time, didn't they, with all the sailors in the pubs and the ladies of the night down there?
Yeah, you have all that anywhere, though, don't you?
Yeah.
So, but we got on with everyone. We never agreed with no one. So
yeah.
It was a bloody nice venue, I'll tell you. It was really nice, really nice. I mean, look, you've got the generation moving in. Now they all want to come back.
Richard North, you're the assistant manager here at the Cornerstone Community Cafe in Queen Street, but it hasn't always been a cafe, has it? It used to be a hostel for ex-servicemen. How's it changed?
That's right, it's changed a lot over the years. As you say, some 50 years, 60 years ago, it was very much a hostel that was meeting the needs of ex-servicemen and things like that, and also meeting the needs of the community following its involvement with ex-servicemen in terms of the deprivation that was around, and the children that were hungry, people that were needing clothes and that sort of thing. And of course Queen Street has changed a lot in those times. There was a lot of poor housing, there was a lot of unemployment, there was a lot of, probably, although there was some sorts of employment, it was of low pay and that sort of thing. And over the years the area's improved, the housing's improved, and in terms of those actually coming into the cafe, we have a vast range of people. We actually use the cafeteria for a particular service, which is providing luncheon clubs, and that's subsidised meals to the elderly. So we get a lot of elderly people coming in here specifically for their lunches. During the day, though, we get a vast range of all age groups, from children right up to the very old, some people that are disabled but can also get out, that come in here mainly to purchase food, but also to sit down and share and have a chat with somebody if they're feeling lonely or have any problems.
Because it's not just a cafe, is it? It's you call it the Cornerstone, and you like to think of it as a cornerstone of the community. You provide all kinds of services from this base.
That's absolutely right. A cafeteria, really, we thought of a few years ago as to how do we get involved with the community, because people have a particular perception about the Salvation Army, which may still last. They may think it's a soup kitchen somewhere that they come in, and if they're homeless, come in for food and have to listen to the gospel and sing a few hymns or something like that. And of course today that isn't the case, and we thought we needed to change our image. So we come upon the idea of having this premises, of that we would open up a cafeteria, which is really our doorway into the community. We get people coming into us, maybe just to get a cup of tea, but there's usually something behind that in an area where we need to help or advise or signpost onto a sort of another service. We provide meals on wheels for people, again within the local community, and that's usually the elderly that are isolated. We also have a day centre that Age Concern run here for the elderly, and they get about 18 to 20 people here a day from Monday to Friday.
The street has changed. The whole character of the street has changed. Do you think this is for better or worse?
Yes, I think that perhaps somebody that was here maybe 50 years or so ago, when they say there were a lot of slums in the area, there are a lot of other activities going on in the area that perhaps made it an interesting place to be, but perhaps people would have said there was an awful lot of poverty here. And now, as you can see, the streets changed in terms of a lot of the bad property and the poor housing has been demolished. There's nice smart flats about and all this sort of thing, but I think people would say that lived here 50 or 60 years ago, yes, it's gone very sort of upmarket, but I think the circumstances change, where poverty 50 or 60 years ago would have been much more noticeable or in your face, as the saying goes. Now it's more behind closed doors in terms of perhaps unemployment, financial problems, with the elderly loneliness. They've got beautiful flats and beautiful facilities and a lot of support, but you can be lonely when you're sat on the 16th floor of a tower block.
Well, I don't really find it the downside to it, really. It's only when, you know, when the lifts aren't working, that's the only time when you can't get out, you know, and you're... It's like everything there, it goes down and up and down and up. And, but it doesn't really affect me, yeah. Only when you go out you actually see it. You know, when you're up here, you're away from it all, and you don't really...
So that's a plus, really, then?
Yeah. It's just like living in a house, really. You know, you don't bang the floor because you've got to realise you've got someone underneath you.
Yeah.
And someone above you.
Yeah.
And noise travels.
What was in Queen Street was lost a long time ago. It was lost when they widened the road. And you just can't bring that back now. It's no longer a tiny village within a city sort of thing. It's just gone, so you can't bring that back. Whatever you try and do, you won't bring it back. The day they widened Queen Street, it lost its everything, really.
If the bricks and mortar of Queen Street could speak, what a story they could tell. A huge chunk of Britain's maritime history is embedded in these very paving stones and frames the street in more tangible form nowadays. But it's the people who lived and died here, who loved and laughed here, who make the street what it really is, a living testament to triumph and despair, a microcosm of life in a naval dockyard town.